What's up, guys? Looks like we got some prayers answered, folks. And he's been found safe. So
Seen yesterday, less than 24 hours ago. Tears of joy, not tears of sadness, as we have learned
that is
that
awesome.
the boy has been found.
I'm just finding out about this
and will be transported to the hospital
people, so
for injuries. Look, this is unbelievable. Chris Martinez joining us here in the Stream Center, and I'm not going to get emotional. This is news you pray for. This is what it's all about.
Yeah.
You want there to be resolution. You see now we have some officers and some deputies that are walking by, and we'll go full screen here. And actually, no, we're going to tap the touchscreen and go this way. Yep, to Sheriff Al Nienhuis. Let's listen in here live. We'll bring up audio full.
Bring up the photo.
Hey, Jose.
Lieutenant.
Wow.
Well, I have to go live.
The young man? Yeah, the one well.
A couple of stations need a minute or two to get up and running.
yeah, I just poured my coffee. Like, I was ready to make a day out of this shit. I'm not even trying to lie, folks.
Okay,
I was ready to make a day out of this.
Hey, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
We are standing by for an update from Sheriff Al Nienhuis. Again, for those of you just joining us here on WFLA Now,
we're trying.
Yeah.
Sheriff Al Nienhuis is about to confirm that missing 2-year-old JJ Rowland has been found alive. Chris, we were live when we saw that law enforcement activity heading west down Yonce, and now we're about to get this confirmation, the confirmation we've been praying for.
What's going on? And perhaps they had found something, and now we know that they did. And from what we understand, JJ just has some scratches on him. That's what we're hearing right now, that he is safe, that he is not injured in any way that is beyond
Wow.
scratches. That's
incredible.
What our
He's been
reporters are
out
telling us right now
all
from the
day
scene. So we're gonna get more
yesterday
from
and
the sheriff
all
here in just a
night.
minute. An incredible ending.
And in
to
Eastern
this story,
time,
JB. A lot of people really thinking the worst here.
All of us.
Yeah.
It's only natural.
Yeah, of
24
course.
hours later to
Yeah.
start to fear the worst. Everyone has.
I
on
mean,
the
yes, it's been 24 hours since he has gone missing.
ground here at WFLA. I mean, we're all just on pins and needles waiting for an update.
This is
That update is
incredible.
moments away, and it's the update we've
Ginger,
been praying
if
for. Here's
you're
Beth.
there, I need you to talk to me, please.
So she is talking with our control room here at WFLA they're waiting on the green light so that we are live across both
Hey,
on
Linda,
air
if
and
you're
online.
listening to this, can you ask Ginger how long until we're in the show?
The 11 o'clock newscast, a show that Chris has anchored many a times, is about 90 or so seconds away from getting started. So we can be live on air in 90 seconds. So they're just waiting for the top of the hour for this press
Wow.
conference. But
This
my
is
goodness,
great.
Chris, I mean, this is just incredible.
Oh,
I was
man.
just gonna say it's just incredible.
Dude,
It's really
I
something.
gotta
and
be
we'll
honest,
find out
man.
here shortly if it was a volunteer.
I love
if we
JB,
found
dude.
JJ, if it was
1
law
minute and
enforcement.
20
Certainly, you saw all those people coming
I
out to
love
help with the
JB.
search, and no doubt that was
Such
a
a good
big help
dude.
this morning in locating this little boy. We're waiting to find out how far away from his home he was found, exactly where he was found. So the sheriff, no doubt, will speak to all that here in just a few minutes for us. But just an incredible ending to this story, to know that this little boy, 2 years old, only 2 years old, is safe and will now be taken to the hospital to get checked out and to be treated. And I'm sure at this point, hopefully, is being reunited if he hasn't already been reunited with his family.
I can smile again. We can all smile again. It's such a relief.
Awesome.
We have been given the 60-second heads up that Sheriff Al Nienhuis is going to be addressing all media here, quite literally from the back of an opened law enforcement vehicle. We're standing by for us to be officially at 11 a.m. and into our broadcast here on WFLA. Let's listen in and go to this live. Listen in. This is Sheriff Al Nienhuis.
Good morning.
Into our broadcast here in
I know we've had a lot of bad news over the last 24 hours, but I'm happy to report that we had the best news that anybody could want. We have found JJ. He seems to be fine. Actually, yeah.
Wow.
Here's actually a picture of him behind me with one of the rescuers. He seems to be doing fine. Paramedics, literally, it was just a couple minutes ago. Paramedics are en route to check him out. But I will tell you that I was hoping and praying for a miracle. I certainly was not expecting one. But I think a lot of people were praying, and prayer works. That's all I got to say. So thank you all for coming out and helping. And for our media partners, thank you all for getting the word out. We certainly had no clue what happened to him. He was found north of the residence, just south of Parrott Middle School. So he was quite a ways away from home. But the good news is he did not end up in any water, obviously, and he was not abducted. He was found in the woods. He seems to be fine. He's definitely going to have something to tell his kids and grandkids about, that's for sure. But I'm sure mom and dad are going to keep a little closer eye on him from this point forward. But again, thank you all very much, and it's a miracle. There's no doubt about it. So thank you.
Sheriff, who did find him?
That I'm not even sure about. I know there's a picture of a gentleman there. I'm not sure if it was one of our law enforcement people or one of our volunteers. I don't even know that yet. We wanted to get the information out there as quickly as we could. So
what's his condition right now?
Again, I'm not sure, but it looks from the picture that he's smiling, so he must be doing fairly well. So.
Sheriff, talk to us a little bit about this community that we saw come out here today.
We live in a great county. Hernando County is great. It supports our law enforcement, and we were overwhelmed. We certainly had a lot more volunteers than we had jobs for them, and we had people that were willing to come out and help, and it certainly warms your heart. That's another part of this story. A secondary part of the story is that the vast majority of citizens are good people, law-abiding citizens who want to do anything to get a 2-year-old back to his parents. So, all right. Any other questions? We'll get more information out as soon as we can, but we certainly wanted to update the public as well as all of our volunteers that they can stand down. And JJ appears to be fine, and we'll be reuniting him with his parents very shortly. So thank you all for coming out.
Sheriff, thank you so much. Again, you just heard from the Hernando County Sheriff, the outcome that everybody was hoping, hundreds of volunteers that showed up here today. JJ has been found safe, that 2-year-old that the mother says wandered away from his home here in Brooksville while she was sleeping just yesterday. Extensive search efforts underway since that point. He has been found safe. They say it doesn't appear that he has any serious injuries. They say he was actually quite a ways away from his home. They're going to take him to the hospital. They're going to have him checked out just to make sure everything is okay. But the sheriff thanking this community for the turnout, the parents saying this is the biggest relief. So we're going to stay here, talk with the sheriff a little more, talk with some of these volunteers, but just the outcome everyone was hoping for.
I want to know how far away from the home he was found. That's what I want to know.
Beth with a smile on her face. Let's go over to Eagle 8HB and see if there's anything that we can see from Eagle. Eagle is still heading to the scene, but Chris Martinez, JB Buno here with you live on WFLA Now, and you'll have to forgive our ear-to-ear grins here because my goodness, JJ, 2-year-old JJ will have more French fries. He'll have more pretzels and more red slushies as we've been seeing in this photo. Many more pretzels. Someone get this kid a pretzel immediately. Some French fries and just a cherry red slushie. Eagle just getting to the scene moments ago. Let's go live and see if we can see anything.
Yo, I'm not even trying to lie, y'all. Like, when I was looking at that picture, I was like, that slushie looks good as fuck. I was like, that's how you're supposed to make a red slushie right there. That shit looks good as hell.
A little bit of homework on Google Maps. Is about 1.5 miles away from the property, between 1 mile to 1.5 miles.
Incredible. And you can even hear with the sheriff speaking that he was getting a little emotional speaking about it, because you had to think at this point, a lot of law enforcement, they've seen situations like this that have not ended this way, and they were maybe starting to think the worst here, have some really some grave concerns for this child. That's quite a distance for a 2-year-old to travel on foot by themselves at night.
And here we have an escort and applause
by themselves. That's quite a distance. A lot of law enforcement, they've seen situations like this that have not ended this way, and they were maybe starting to think the worst here, have some really some grave concerns for this child. That's quite a distance.
So what was the distance
to travel on foot by themselves at night?
And here we have an escort and applause. We have no absolutely
here could to get him with medical care per se, which is also, by the way, incredible.
A mile and a half
in and of itself. That a 2-year-old
survived
overnight, and could travel that far on their own barefoot.
This kid is
by
a
the
badass.
way, confirmed that he was barefoot.
Yeah. Oh, family. This is family.
Was he barefoot?
Life.
You cannot. Every mama has lost a child before. Don't say you haven't. Every mother loses sight of her child for just a minute. It just takes a minute. Oh, all of the moms out here today.
Poor
There was
lady.
a mom I talked to today that lost her son in a drowning 23 years ago, and she was here today looking for this baby.
Oh my God, she must be
incredible. It's incredible.
spinning right now. This woman must be spinning right now.
What is your first and last name?
Christina Sowers.
How do you spell it?
SOWERS.
Wow.
I'm so excited. I am so excited.
Good for
to find
you.
that baby.
And what is
Good
the
for you.
relationship, friendship? You know,
It's my cousin. It's my mom's sister's family. Oh my gosh.
just your thoughts hearing this wonderful news.
I
after
can't
so many hours.
wait. I can't expect
Okay, so that's not his mom.
Yeah, he had to be right here. He's 2 with no shoes. He had to be right here. That's why
I'm
we
so
weren't
happy for
leaving.
Rachel.
He's here, and we knew it.
They're the most beautiful family.
How thankful are you that he's okay?
Oh, I can't
You can't.
believe how thankful this support, this town has come together, and the law enforcement and the animals, the horses, the people out of nowhere. I mean, driving home, I was just in tears at all the vehicles and everybody walking, the lights.
Friends. This is Dad's company over here.
In this
This is
neighborhood,
Dad works for the whole. He's got the whole crew came out.
everybody from work, everybody,
All the teachers and the school staff today. You should have seen them in line.
everybody.
In line, they said if you're from the schools, you don't have to get a background, and it was just piles of them.
I think the fact that
So
it's been
awesome.
24 hours.
You're looking here from
It
Eagle
was
8 HD.
so bad.
There
Nobody
is
got any
JJ.
sleep last night. Nobody
He
got.
raised boys stuff. He can
We were
survive
here.
it. It's
Yep.
just like
It was-
camping. Come on, it was a cool camping trip. Oh, they counted.
Don't overdo it, lady. I know. I get it, but
Oh my gosh.
It's unbelievable. I'm so thankful. I'm just overwhelmed. I just can't wait to see the baby. And the mama.
And your first and last name, and how do you spell it?
I'm Terry Smith, and I am.
you don't what?
I don't
Come
know.
on, Terry
No,
Smith. You got it.
It's my sister's
Sisters.
grandchild, so it's my nephew. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. My brain is.
It's your cousin. It's your cousin.
Terry,
Your baby
T-E-R-R-I.
cousin.
Why?
Why? Smith.
Smith. Yes.
Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you. Thank you for helping in the support and being here.
So happy it didn't last a minute longer.
Oh,
It's
I
your
know.
great
I don't know
nephew.
if anybody goes.
No. We woke up this
They were
morning and we said
starting
today
to-
on Sunlight.
That's right.
Sunlight today. That's it.
We were out of the
You
house.
say
at 5
nothing
a.m.
else different. That's all you
Yep.
say.
Shows how people come together.
Oh, it's amazing. You guys have been amazing too. You guys have been so respectful.
So happy for you guys.
Yes, thanks so much.
Incredible. We just saw that boy get reunited with his family.
No words.
No
right?
words,
to
right.
see that. And from what we could see, as the sheriff has said, from the distance from Eagle 8 HD, he looked okay. He looked fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's talking.
Incredible. Just
Yeah,
absolutely
here,
incredible.
Here, let's go full screen. Here is JJ. And we'll try to, I'll bring up the ground audio here as well, so that we can hear. I think we're about to see
jackass,
this on
get
the
out of the
ground
shot.
and from Eagle. There is JJ being carried past the law enforcement teams that have been pouring hours and hours into searching for him.
Wow. Cool.
Great people shooting it.
Yeah.
And look at the amount of attention.
look at the
that
community,
JJ
man.
is everyone is
That community is amazing.
huddling around, and you pray for this visual, you pray for this moment, you pray for this end to the story, and prayers were answered. Chris.
And we were just asking a few moments ago, was he going to the hospital? Was he going home? It looks like he's home now and likely home to stay. Maybe perhaps he was checked out in that ambulance just to make sure that he was all right. But you have to wonder too what JJ is thinking here. Does he understand at all the magnitude of anything that's happened? Likely not, right? He probably just thinks, wow, look at all these people here to celebrate. They're excited.
He's probably thinking, hey, it's a horsey.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he probably isn't exactly sure what exactly what we heard a few moments ago from family members.
Yo, get that kid whatever he wants, dude. Like anything. I don't care if he's asking for a stick of butter to chew on, bro. Give it to him. Anything he wants. Anything a 2-year-old craves after like toughing it out in the woods all fucking night. Give this kid anything he wants. I dare any of y'all to like go out barefooted and handle the woods, not knowing where you are. Like, I dare you to do what this kid did all night long.
Just say thank you for probably the rest of their lives.
Oh, absolutely.
And so it's a great point that JJ probably is a little confused,
right.
And a little probably overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Can you imagine for a moment being a 2-year-old and being out there there's not a lot of light out there. This is not really even the suburbs. It's not a city. It's not the suburbs. There's not a lot of light out there overnight. But what's interesting is that, and I'm wondering here. So this is just purely now. I'm taking off my reporter hat for a second. This is the child was found south of the middle school.
Mm-hmm.
You're wondering, was he trying to find? Was he just following light as he was wandering around in the darkness last night? Was he? The middle school is on one of the main roads there. I think it's Cobb Road, if I'm not mistaken. Was he just trying to? Was he listening for sound so that he could get out of the woods? I'm looking here on Google Maps, and if he did go directly from the property to south of the middle school, he would have gone through a very wooded area, and Cobb Road is right there too.
And who knows what this kid was thinking? Who knows what goes through a 2-year-old's head? Like this kid could have saw a rabbit, chased him into the woods, could have saw anything, chased it into the woods, not knowing anything. I mean, crazy. This is crazy.
There were a million things here that could have gone wrong. There were a million things here that could have gone south, so to speak. And as you just described it, walking through the woods, a mile plus, looking for light, all sorts of things.
We're hearing some applause. Let's bring this up. Oh, it's the fire rescue vehicle, and people who are out. I want to show this here really quickly, very quick. People that are out by the roadway are just looking, and there's this perimeter that's been established. You can't go past this point because it's just for family and law enforcement. Because down the road, if you walk past this area, you find this. So people are just cheering at anything right now. Volunteers, law enforcement, whomever it may be.
Hell yeah.
But there is JJ being carried by a family member or friend back in the direction
every one of those volunteers deserves applause. Everybody that
today, hopefully we will
went
hear
out
at some
there
point from the person who found JJ and made that discovery. The sheriff saying earlier he wasn't certain if that was a member of law enforcement or a volunteer. No doubt we will find that out at some point here today, but we're very anxious to learn more about specifically where and how he was found.
I just can't get over how this was the middle of the night and this boy was wandering around.
Yeah, dude.
More applause that you're hearing. If this child becomes a future Survivor contestant, I will not be surprised in the slightest.
Right?
Okay,
Look, there are plenty of adults who would have a hard time in those circumstances, right? So for a 2-year-old to navigate that and be okay and just have a few scratches.
2 years old, dude.
We might be witnessing the next great Florida outdoorsman right in front of our very eyes. My goodness. Survivor, if you're watching, we have a Survivor story that you just cannot believe because a 2-year-old barefoot who disappeared and survived overnight in Hernando County. was able to emerge out of this alive, being found by, we do not know who yet, but to Chris's point, what a story that person will tell. Can you imagine, Chris, being the person to see JJ, to see that curly blonde hair as we now see JJ go into his home with his family? Can you imagine seeing that curly hair or hearing something? Maybe,
Dude, I would have held that kid so tight in my arms and not let go of him just to make sure
that moment
nothing happened to him.
And there's a lot of questions about that. Was he sleeping? Was he awake? Was he aware? I'm very anxious to hear more about that. And no doubt once the sheriff gets more information today, we'll hear that from the sheriff, at least if we don't hear from the person himself who found him at some point today. Hopefully we will hear from that person as well. But that moment, right, of not only just discovering him, JB, but then discovering that he's okay on top of that, because you have to think you're probably looking out there thinking, what am I going to find? And being a little scared of what you're going to find under the circumstances.
Yeah.
But to find him there and to find him okay and alive and relatively unharmed, the relief for everybody involved in that is just incredible.
It's a sad fact, but we are Chris, you and I we're used to these types of stories coming to tragic endings because we're so familiar with so many tragedies. And when you hear about these types of stories, and we were noting earlier before this news, how every hour that goes on, your heart sinks further into your stomach. This is such a relief. Here in Florida, some good news after what happened in Orlando, the terrible shooting that led to the death of a 38-year-old woman. One of our colleagues in the news industry over at News 13, Dylan Lyons, as well as a 9-year-old child.
Yeah, Florida's been through the shit lately, man.
Here in the state of Florida, and a little good news, a little right. I mean, just a little bit of good news. It's good for the soul. It's good for everyone who's joining us here. To all of our commenters who participated. I was so my favorite part when we get to share good news, in the rare instances we get to share good news, Chris, is I look here at this screen and I get to see the comment section light up. I did not get to see that moment because I was just
you were juggling.
We were juggling cell phones. We initially we'll backtrack for a moment. We'll kind of give everybody some inside baseball here. Chris and I both got a text that said unconfirmed boy found, and we now on the surface we were trying to remain as calm as possible, but because when we get unconfirmed, we can't share unconfirmed reports. So we are like, now
I'm going to pause this from time to time because I want, it doesn't matter because, it is live and there's not going to be really any developments happening. So I don't mind like being behind a little bit. But big ups to WFLA News, who I'm streaming right now, and JB. These guys have been at it since yesterday, man, covering this, putting the word out there. So big ups to WFLA News for this, and JB. Like, this news station, this Channel 8, they got my respect, to say the least. They've got my respect.
Like ducks on the water, right? We appear calm, but under the water we're paddling.
Right.
And we didn't know, but what was terrifying about that moment for Chris and I was we didn't know if the boy was found alive or dead.
It was just unconfirmed found, but not the condition.
Right. We didn't know if there was injuries. We didn't know a lot. We were just praying for alive. And then people were frantically running in here, frantically coming into the stream center, this, that, and all these unconfirmed reports. And then boom, we had it from Beth. Big shout out to Beth, who's been doing extraordinary work out there this morning. Being able to share that good news. I did not get to see the comment section light up, but maybe we can get it to light up again here. My goodness, all of our commenters, everyone who shared JJ's picture out there, the community that rallied volunteers and got people out there to this section of North Brooksville. Let's just flood the comment section with emojis. It is so incredible that we have this ending, and now we'll start to see the scene start to become more and more quiet. But the story doesn't end here.
Right.
I have questions.
There are still a lot of questions surrounding this, and we will likely get a lot of those answers today.
Absolutely.
As we learn more from the sheriff and from anybody else who's out there. Certainly Beth Rousseau and our other team of reporters who are covering the story, they're all over it. They're going to be talking to everybody they can. There are still questions here. Now that we have a good ending and a happy ending, now we get to start asking other questions. How did this happen? The circumstances involved. Why the
alert took 5.5 hours to get put out to cell phones.
Right.
We have the technology.
See, I don't like that.
There needs to be
I don't like that because I know that yesterday, because I was watching this closely, you know, and that's human, and I understand that, because a lot of people are like, why did it take so long to put this out there, to put the alert out there, even though it was not an Amber Alert. Again, an Amber Alert, for an Amber Alert, you have to be able to there has to be a vehicle involved. There has to be some sort of indication of an abduction, and there wasn't. So an Amber Alert just didn't apply. And a lot of people are saying, well, why did it take 5 hours to put that alert out there? And the sheriff's answer to that, because he was asked that yesterday, and his answer to that was that he wanted to focus more on the immediate search in the area that was close by and exhaust those efforts first before basically, you know, doing anything that might cause a panic and make their immediate search any more chaotic. So I agree with that. I think that's perfectly understandable. I understand that there's certain decisions that have to be made that the public's not going to really understand. They're not going to always agree with, but at the end of the day, this is a win. At the end of the day, law enforcement used their resources properly. The community came together and volunteered. And at the end of all of this, the result was positive. And little baby JJ was found, despite the fact that he was missing for 24 hours. He was barefoot. He's 2.5 years old, by himself, and they found him in the woods. So I don't think it's really fair to start pointing fingers at law enforcement for any lack of effort or any mistakes being made, because at the end of the day, the result was a result that we had hoped for, and we can celebrate.
Just a conversation to talk about how technology can best be used in these types of situations. It didn't rise to the level of an Amber Alert,
right?
Because there wasn't a kidnapping, there wasn't that criteria,
right?
But and there was that cell. Yeah, everyone gets that alert on their phones, you know, that when it goes off, and that did go off, but it was 5.5 hours after JJ was reported missing to law enforcement. What can we do better in future situations to speed up that process a bit, if it can help bring more stories in the future to conclusions like this one?
Right. And that's a conversation that should be had. And it's the conversation that needs to be had about how do you notify.
And I agree. It's a conversation that should be had and needs to be had. Absolutely. But I don't think that it applies in this case so much. I think that law enforcement did everything that they can do, everything that's within their power to do, and they have to actually manage their search efforts and their tactics in a very careful manner. And I think that they did a good job doing that. So I'm not about to sit here and start pointing out mistakes that law enforcement made when they got the results that we're looking for.
Yes. And to look at how this went down and say, what, you know, going forward, God forbid something like this happens again to another family. How do we handle it?
Right. Yeah. How do we get better? If technology can help us in our search efforts, how can it help us just as far as spreading awareness in the aftermath of this?
And we always, unfortunately, have those conversations typically after there's been.
Now, they also,
ending, not a happy
just to be clear, they also did not accept any volunteer help until today. And I understand that decision too, considering when you have no reason to believe that this child has been taken, you have no reason to believe that there's any foul play involved. You have nothing except the child's immediate safety to bear in mind. When you have nothing but those things, it makes perfect sense to me to just simply at first, for now, you know, as far as yesterday goes, keep the professionals on the case. Let's focus on the immediate area and leave it where it's just professionals looking for this child in order to produce the best possible results. And so we don't muddy the waters too much. We don't get people that are going to interfere with the search rather than contribute to the search. So that made sense to me. And I think, like I said, I think that law enforcement did a great job in coordinating this search and executing this search.
Share that prayers have been answered. There's no better and rewarding feeling for us in our industry to be able to share news that makes just a community feel so good and people around the world feel so good.
Yeah, we don't always get a happy ending.
No,
right?
no, we don't.
So when you have a story like this that ends this way, or it doesn't go in the way they typically go, it really is a moment to celebrate for this family and for the community. And again, to point out what an incredible community where we live, because you saw how quick the people were to come out to help.
Let's bring up the audio here. Can I get a round of applause in the comment section for our brave men and women of law enforcement? Can we get some clap emojis going here? I mean,
agreed. Yeah,
throw
them in here too.
Hours overnight
clap emojis
in
for
the
law
air. They
enforcement,
spent
the volunteers.
all of yesterday afternoon looking for this boy, and this morning getting up bright and early to assist in the continuation of the search efforts. Can we get hey man, law enforcement as well? You know, we heard some thanks for us here at WFLA. That was very kind, but also too just a big shout out to law enforcement. My goodness, we salute the Hernando County Sheriff's Office and all the assisting agencies for helping. And yeah, my big question, Chris, I really want to know who found him. Yeah, it's where my mind is going. Yeah. Who found him? How it happened? That's going to be later on today on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. You want to know what the moment might have been like? That's what our reporters right now are currently pursuing. I got Jim here standing by. What's up? Say that again. Okay, yeah, I did a track. It's around a mile. Yeah, about maybe a little bit less than a mile from the spot where he was found, where he disappeared from that house.
Okay, so a little less than a mile then.
We'll get a lot more information throughout the day. I'm sure the sheriff or whoever out there, right?
And we got to understand
who found him, how he found them. We really
in situations like this, we're going to get a lot of mixed information until information can be confirmed. So it's really early before a lot of information can be actually confirmed as fact. So keep that in mind when you hear certain things. Like, for example, as far as how far he went, some people were thinking over a mile and a half. Some people were thinking a mile, and now we're getting we're hearing it's a little less than a mile.
Not only is able to provide hope, but also to how this can be a learning experience, both good and bad, how we can learn from this and make sure that future stories don't end tragically when it comes to a missing person, a missing child, or a missing toddler.
Right. And these cases, with the exception perhaps, as we were noting earlier, in terms of the notification, these cases that have endings like this are good lessons in terms of mobilizing volunteers, mobilizing law enforcement, mobilizing groups to cover the ground, cover the area. I mean, they did this in a very methodical way. And if we are going with the assumption here, which it is an assumption because we don't know for sure, that it was a volunteer group or a group of volunteers and law enforcement, a mix, but one of these groups that was out there looking that found them, then it shows, it gives lessons on how to do searches correctly. It gives searches on lessons on how to make sure that people and volunteers are utilized in the best way possible. And that's something that these law enforcement agencies are used to doing. And it shows that in this case that was very helpful. I mean, all of those volunteers going out there, looking at every inch that they could, was incredible. And you noted earlier, they were vetting them. They were tying the crime scene tape on their legs. So
and let's discuss that alert a little bit more
all
too.
Of that is
let's discuss that alert a little bit too, as far as like why it wasn't released so immediately. I'm of the opinion also, like I said, if there's no reason to think that there's any foul play involved, and their efforts are going to be in the immediate area to search, and only law enforcement professionals and rescue professionals are going to be looking for this child. Like I said, the alert, when they're not trying to get volunteers to start, because they don't know if they're going to be looking for any evidence of a crime. They don't know any of this stuff yet. So they have to be very, very careful in how they manage these things. And putting out an alert for a missing child, if it's not an Amber Alert, that, and they're under the assumption that the child wandered off, he could not have gotten far. And that, obviously, that was the case here. He could not have gotten far. And so therefore, it makes sense to just manage the panic a little bit, manage the panic some. And you know, again, if they believe that he is close by and they have no reason to believe that he's not, what good would that alert have done? It's a very rural area. All of the surrounding neighbors have been notified and questioned and asked if their property can be searched, more or less. You know, so everyone in the immediate area where they believe the child could have wandered to, where they believe JJ could have wandered to, that was already covered. So an alert would not have done anything. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with them trying to manage the situation as best as they could have, the way that they did.
Local police department or for a local sheriff's office. They don't want you to wait. Sheriff Al Nienhuis said they'd much rather get a canceled call 90 seconds later, just so that they can get on the way, get to the property, get to the location. Do not wait. So it's a learning experience for parents. It's a learning experience for us in the media. How can we use social media? How can we use live streaming? How can we use our websites or apps? How can we use technology in the media to get the word out as quickly as possible?
And that happened. Okay. And I want to piggyback off of what he's saying here. What he's saying that should have been done more happened. As soon as they were live talking about this, I shared it in my community. I shared their stream in my community. I didn't go live about it at the time, but I shared it in my community. I know that others has shared it. It's everything. The word got out to where a lot of volunteers came forward to help. And there was a, as far as that goes, I have a little information on that too. There was a convenience store that was kind of a, I don't want to call it a centralized station or anything like that, but it was the designated place that was utilized to allow volunteers today to go and volunteer their efforts to help search. And they actually had to go through a background check, a brief quote unquote background check to be able to volunteer. So even the volunteer efforts was organized, and it was even the volunteer efforts was organized to the point to where they were vetting people who were going to be able to go out and search. So even that was controlled to a point to where it would not turn out to be chaotic, at least to the best of their efforts. So I have no gripes over how law enforcement handled this situation, especially, like I said before, that they got the results, the best possible results that we could hope for.
The sole purpose for these next 10 minutes is just to spotlight your hashtag HeyJB comments on social media, and I will try to get to as many as possible. Some people online are claiming that that he was found in the woods by a volunteer, and I don't want to put any names up on screen. We have to verify that information. So Megs, I see you on YouTube. I would love to share that we have to vet it. We have to vet the information before we can share it.
Oh,
I do
what a
see
novel
that
idea!
That is true. I hope that person found.
And I don't mean that as a
and I hope
jab
that
to
it was a
them. I'm like,
volunteer.
hey,
It doesn't
listen
really matter
up.
to me who found him. The fact that we just found him is just a miracle.
Hey, other YouTubers, what a novel idea that you would actually vet information before you put it out. Incredible. Incredible.
But I want to spotlight some more comments. Florida Aerial Media. #KGB, he must have slept because he had bug bites on the soles of his feet. Or feet, excuse me. That's very interesting. Yeah, did he fall asleep out there? Was he able to? Lee Spann, our meteorologist, was. Oh, actually, we've got a live report. From
I don't know
Beth
if
Russo.
anybody's ever lived in Florida, but hold on, let's hear what she has to say.
Hours, I should say. Deanne, thank goodness.
All right, we caught the tail end of this report. Beth doing a great job out there reporting. And so we'll come back. Oh, wow. We might have some video coming in of JJ being found. Hold on. Stand by. Yeah, we do. All right, everybody, stand by. I've just been alerted to some new video coming in.
And I'm glad that the parents are staying out of the spotlight
I just looked
right
at the video.
now.
It's video from a distance.
It's
You
a
can't
smart
see
move
too much, but it will be on
because these vultures, man,
.com.
They'll get them.
Apologies. We want to get back to our comments here in the stream center, and we'll show Eagle.
Totally.
Hernando County. You guys are incredible, man. It's just awesome.
Totally.
The amount of volunteers that showed up this morning. Hernando County really deserves a moment. A moment just to spotlight how amazing those people were. More than 500 volunteers showing up.
Agreed. 500 volunteers
helping the search efforts. It's just every day.
See, that's another reason why the alert being released earlier would not have necessarily been necessary, much less it could have been more damaging. Enough people came out and volunteered, man. There was 500 people in such a rural area that came out and helped, so people at the end of the day are good people. Some people went out there for clout. Everybody wants to be the one to find the kid and be the hero, and that's great. But whatever the fuck finds the missing kid, great. I don't care if you want to be a hero. I don't care if that's your purpose. If it got the job done, then it got the job done.
Joshua JJ Rowland has been located by one of our volunteer searchers. Everyone, please, if you were screaming at the live stream, pay attention to Facebook. I am so sorry. Please forgive me.
And yeah, what I was going to say, that's why I highlighted the comments, man. I don't know if you've ever lived in Florida. If anybody here's ever lived in Florida, I grew up in South Florida, and the idea of being in a heavily wooded area where, and I'm in Tennessee. I know that in Florida, there's likely rain, and there's definitely humidity. And this is one of the first hot days in Florida. Yesterday was in sorry, I'm getting stuff here. So let me forward this and I'll share it. You have, besides the gators and everything, you have mosquitoes, fire ants. I don't know if any of you have ever stepped in an ant pile. It's pure torture. It's pure torture. I've stepped in many an ant pile as a kid. Just cutting through a golf course. Right? I've stepped in an ant pile and I have been just attacked by fire ants. And it is nothing short of pure torture. And fire ant hills are everywhere, especially in an area where it's wooded. I can't. The idea, the thought of this child being by himself, and just getting through the night, on his own like that. Man, what a tough kid. Give me 1 second here. There it is. This was emailed to me, but this is the picture of the man who found JJ, and he's with JJ. So I don't have to share it. But thank you, Cherry, for sending that to me. Thank you all guys who also had it and tried to send it to me as well. I appreciate you guys and letting me know that the picture is available.
Just woke up this morning and wanted to do the right thing.
Right.
Headed over to the sign up and volunteered to search for JJ. Actually found JJ alive and well, other than some scratches and maybe some bug bites and a little bit of a frightening experience. Absolutely extraordinary.
I mean, look at this
and
kid.
Gentlemen, I tip my hat to you. Someone get this guy a beer. Someone get him a red cherry slushy that he can enjoy with JJ. Just so cool.
That dude should never have to buy a drink in that town again. I'm just saying, that dude should never have to buy his own drink in that town again.
Showing us what's going on, documenting what's going on the ground. But I want to get back to your comments. Christina, thanks for pointing that out, by the way, and our other commenters. Bottom line says hashtag KJB, buy that volunteer some ice cream. Let's thank this man for a job well done. I said a beer. Ice cream, I'm sure.
That's all good, man.
Great.
Yeah. Whatever is poison. Don't matter.
Just really cool. Isn't it refreshing, you guys? How many live streams have we done together, all of us, especially those who watch a majority, if not all, of the live streams we do here in the Stream Center? How often are you you wish for that, you pray for that happy ending, and it so often it doesn't come, and this time it did. It's just absolutely awesome to see so much joy in our comment section. Our comment section is usually littered with questions and observations, and it's usually death, destruction. It's usually awful. Some of the subject matter here in our chat, but to be able to share news like this is just
yeah, man,
makes your heart feel good. Michelle says hashtag AJB, looks like JJ has a guardian angel. Yeah, super cool. Ashley, hashtag KJB, this could happen to any of us by complete accident. You can't be quick to judge. Kids are quick. Hopefully this story will bring awareness. Ashley, I want to really emphasize your last statement, your last sentence. Awareness is so key. How many parents are watching this today and yesterday?
And Ali P, thank you for becoming a member for 4 months. I appreciate that. I actually turned the monetization off for this, but I didn't turn off the membership. I didn't even think about it. But yeah, you guys know me. Those of you who know me know that when it comes to sharing the information on a missing kid or a missing person, that sort of thing, I don't like to I don't like to make money off of that. That's why the super chats were turned off. That's why I did not share my other links in the chat. It's not about that. It's about spreading information. When it comes to other subject matter, I have no problem with it. But these sort of things, this is all about just spreading information and about spreading awareness. And so, but yeah, I appreciate that. But if you're planning on becoming a member or whatever, just try to wait till the next live stream if you can. I appreciate it. I just forgot to turn it off. But thank you, LEP. I appreciate it.
And are now evaluating, just asking some questions, some fundamental questions about how they would act given this situation, this nightmare that happened in their life, and asking questions about whether they have cameras that, located on their home, and whether or not it just, awareness is such a big component for this, Ashley, and I'm glad you brought it up. Thank you. I see some comments about WFLA Now coverage. Really appreciate it. Our live streaming platform here is very unique. Some would call it a crazy experiment for us to be able to go live online, nonstop, commercial free. Not too many news stations do that, but really appreciate it. It's the only reason that we are allowed to be able to do this is because people watch. If you guys didn't watch on whatever platform you're watching on right now, this experiment would have been wrapped up a long time ago, if you want to call it an experiment. We feel like we have really tried to use this platform for good, and really a big part of it is trying to use our ability here at WFLA with WFLA Now to spread good information on a platform that is oftentimes riddled with gossip, speculation, and
Tatted Tech, homie. I think about it every day, especially when you remind me. But today, not today, my man. Not today at all. Today is why we do this.
And unreliable information.
Welcome, buddy. It's good to see you.
Georgina says, #KJB, this guy's most likely a grandpa. You can be a grandpa, could be a grandma, could be an aunt, an uncle, cousin. Don't matter to me. I like, what, Georgina? I like guardian angel. Someone said that earlier, and I like that. I like guardian angel. I think that gentleman has a permanent spot at the Thanksgiving table.
For sure.
Yeah. Dennis says, #KJB, we all love a happy ending and good coverage. Yeah. We all love, thank you. Sommer, yes. Smiling is great. And saying that there's too much bad news in the world today. JJ's in his mama's arms. Made me cry happy tears. I know his family is absolutely overjoyed. Yeah, I went off camera to shed a tear for a moment. Can you just imagine the lives of these parents would have been decimated? How do you ever move past that?
I feel like those were family members.
There are some families in this country that have lost children at that age. And my heart breaks for those families today. I wonder if there's anybody watching right now that experienced a level of tragedy. I'm sure that people watching right now are just overjoyed that we have this ending, but also too, it's at the same time, it makes you think about the other parents out there in this country and elsewhere who have lost kids at that age, and the heartbreak that they experience. It's a relief that we can really rally around this story. And as Alberta's saying here, it's not often we get this outcome. Let's cherish this moment. It's a powerful moment. And it's a moment that reminds us that there are good people in the world. 500 people showing up to help search. And one of those human beings that woke up this morning found this kid just because he wanted to do the right thing. There's good people in the world, folks. Let's just cherish these moments, because we cover so many moments in the news where it does not end this way.
Sorry, I got Panda
really
crying here. I think she needs to go out.
And be difficult to process when it's just negative, one after the other. So cherish this moment. This is a great moment. And it might look, and it might seem like a small thing in the grand scheme of things. Years from now, it might seem small. A 2-year-old that was missing for about 24 hours or so. And but right now, this moment, nothing else matters to me in this moment. There's nothing else in my that matters to me news-wise in this moment. I don't care about what's going on in any other corner of the country or in the world. I just care about this right now. And I feel like others are probably feeling the same thing. So I'm really, really so proud and so grateful. And also for law enforcement to organize these efforts, and what they did can't be understated. So it's just a huge thank you to the volunteers. It's a huge thank you to law enforcement. Just awesome. Mary Girl Moody, #AJB. Please remind people we are all human beings and not perfect machines. We all make mistakes we wish we could change. True. Parents make mistakes. Parents make mistakes. Happens. And so I can almost guarantee it won't ever happen again, given what this family has been through. But we're all imperfect creatures, and we all have made mistakes. Every one of us, parents or otherwise. Just grateful that this is one that produced a happy ending and also produced a learning moment for all of us. All of us. You can't watch this and not think, how do I learn from this experience? Every one of us can learn from this experience in one way or another. If you were one of the people online that were pointing a finger at somebody connected to this story, you have something to learn from this. If you were somebody who's just automatically assumed that this was going to, end tragically, you have something to learn from this. If you're a parent who hasn't really thought about the safety or the security of your home of late, maybe you have something to learn from this. Here in the media, I've been thinking over the last 24 hours, how can I be better? How can we be better? It's just a learning moment for all of us, but also a moment we can cherish and celebrate because of how rare it can feel at times for us to get this kind of an outcome. I will stay live until noon. So you got me for another 10 minutes, folks, just because I want to cherish this moment for as long as we can. Good news is rare. It feels like when we're covering this type of a story. So we'll do 10 more minutes. Christina says, my son passed away at JJ's age. I'm so happy that his family got a happy outcome. Well, I'm so sorry for you, Christina, and also for you to have a moment of happiness that this happened. It's very special, and thank you for sharing. Marina, #HJB, the silver lining in this is at least this was not a kidnapping. I think people automatically just assume that there is some sinister act that is a component to this whole story. And people immediately assume that if a child has disappeared, the child was snatched. I understand because we're so, our brains are so tuned to think about other comparable situations, and you remember the stories of kidnappings and abductions because our brains can't really comprehend and grasp who would snatch a 2-year-old off the street, who would steal a human being who would steal someone else's child. But
see, you're nicer than I am, JB, because the way that I see it is people assume that the child was kidnapped because people's mind tend to go to the worst, especially if your demographic is the true crime audience. But also in regards to this particular situation, in regards to that, it's just hard to imagine that a 2-year-old would wander off and stay out for 24 hours, for an entire day. And it's hard to imagine that a 2-year-old could survive out there for 24 hours. So it's easy to come to those conclusions and think the worst. But mostly, as far as the good people go, the good people fear the worst. The worst is going to enter your mind. It's going to happen. It's just natural. It's going to happen to the best of us. But this poor kid is easily a survivor. There's just no better way to put it. Just this kid is a tough survivor. So yeah, the idea that someone didn't take him is actually almost less believable.
It does happen, and you can't fathom as to why it would happen. So it sticks in our minds. And so when we hear about a story like this, we fear the same outcome. But it's not always apples to apples. It's not always the same outcome, the same story, the same circumstances.
Right.
So it's a learning experience in that respect as well. But I'm grateful that it was not a kidnapping, and I'm grateful for the fact that JJ was found alive. Rocky Renee, #HJB, from a mama who has had a little one pass. My heart is singing with praise for this outcome. What a blessing sweet JJ and his family have received. Yeah, it's awesome. Busy B, HJB, big shout out to law enforcement and volunteers. Big shout out to volunteers who found him safe to the volunteer who found him safe and well. Was crying with happiness was JJ was found when JJ was found safe and well, from Scotland in the UK. How cool is that? International audience following this story in small town USA, Hernando County, Florida. Why people choose to follow this around the world? I think it's because if you're a parent, the thought of your child being missing for an extended period of time is something that quite literally turns your insides inside out, makes you feel crippled with panic, that thought. And so for this family to experience this, it's relatable because a lot of parents will tell stories. I remember I had a story from when I was a kid. I was, I think, 2. I'll have to ask my mother when this happened, how old I was. I think it was a little bit older than 2. But my mother and family took me to Sesame Place when I was a kid. Outside Philly, I think. And it's a theme park. It's like a Sesame Street themed theme park. And I wandered off as a kid. And that was very frantic because of a lot of people. And I was gone for maybe 5 minutes or less. Very brief, not nearly as long as this. But my mom tells the story as it was the worst or the most terrifying 5 minutes of her life because it was a theme park that was very busy, hundreds, if not thousands of people. And I was a little kid and I wandered off. And so I bring up this story for a very specific reason. So many parents have had experiences where even for moments, they lose track of where their child is. I've seen it happen at the beach. You ever been at the beach and all of a sudden you'll hear a parent scream out because all of a sudden a child wanders off, and at a beach, it's scary because you're automatically thinking as a parent, oh my God, is my child in the water? Is my child caught up in a riptide or something to that effect?
My mom actually, she wasn't around at the moment. I mean, we were living with her and everything. I'm saying at the very moment she wasn't, but I lived at a time where it was okay for us to just play outside. And my brother and I were in Dominican Republic. I was 4 and he was 6. And my brother is vastly smarter than I am, smarter than most people I know. And he, the two of us were hanging out with some friends of ours, just playing outside, and everybody decided to jump in the back of this dude's truck, me and my brother included, because everybody else was doing it. And my brother got one of his many concussions because he got scared and paranoid, like while we were in the back of this truck. And I have a very slight memory of this. I was 4, and my brother instinctively jumped out of the back of the truck and hit his head real hard and got a concussion. And luckily the dude wasn't trying to hurt anybody or anything, but he didn't know where we were going. We didn't know where we were going. He jumped out of the truck. And at least that's how I think it happened. I'm not totally sure. And the guy stopped the truck and everything turned out okay. And my brother had a concussion, but a minor injury. But when we told my mom what happened, yeah, that didn't go well. It didn't go well at all. But I've never actually, like, I've been lost, but it was like during a time where, like I said, everybody played outside, living in West Virginia. I remember getting lost, playing with friends, and then I lost track of certain friends and we wandered to different neighborhoods and blah, blah, blah. And then I remember I had no idea where I was, and it took me forever. I didn't know how to get home. I think I was 9. I got totally lost, and but eventually I made it home. And then I got in trouble for coming home after dark. So
just wanted to
here's the guy right here,
and volunteered to be part of the search efforts and found this young. He deserves a lot of credit, as do all the volunteers do. Any one of the volunteers.
That dude's a Floridian,
but this is the one who did.
Like, he's wearing the Floridian
really
uniform right there.
See around his ankle, he's got that do not cross tape. That was what they were using to identify who was an approved and vetted volunteer. Let's get to some other comments as we wait for him to come on over.
Like, kids get lost, man. It happens. I mean,
this will be, I've just been informed, this will be News Channel 8's Annie Mapp doing this interview, participating in this interview as it takes place here live out of Hernando County. I can't bring up the comment because it doesn't have hashtag AJB. Neil, but Neil has a comment in our YouTube live comment section saying, give him the key to the city. It's not a very big city. Brooksville is not a very
Like,
large town.
There's a lot of parents in here,
but-
right?
Yeah, give them the key to the.
There's a lot of parents in here. So let's when is it that you decide, like, what happens to make a parent decide to switch from a crib to a bed, right? When your child is old enough when your child is old enough to sleep in a bed versus a crib, right? What's usually the event that takes place to make that switch, to make that to make that upgrade in your child's development? There it is, right there. Crawl out of the crib. Mad Catter had it immediately. Crawl out of the crib, because kids are curious. Kids, there's two sides to every coin. There's that coin of that a kid wants to show a child, or a kid wants to show their parent that they could do everything all by themselves. Well, sometimes, because a kid doesn't know any better, and they don't know when it's a good time, when it's a good situation to show a parent that they could do something by themselves, and when it's not. And we show our kids how proud we are once they do something all by themselves, and so a kid's mindset is always going to be, I want to, I want to impress mom or dad, or mom and dad. And sometimes they do it when our back's turned, and who knows what the circumstances were. I don't know what the circumstances were as far as why this parent felt the need to take a nap at that time of day. I don't know, but I'm not about to focus my energy on why this parent is negligent, or if this parent was negligent, or anything of that nature. All I'm going to say is that I'm glad that this little boy was found safely, and that those parents can rest easy. And I'm sure that authorities, considering all the attention that was brought into this situation, are going to look into whether or not these parents are fit, whether or not they aren't, but that's not for us to decide, and that's not for us to start throwing mud at people. And I'm really glad, speaking of that these parents have not spoken publicly yet. And I hope that they don't. I hope that they remain anonymous, and I hope that they could just move on with their lives. And if they made mistakes, well, then they'll take the steps to correct those mistakes and learn from this mistake. And that's not for us to decide. That's not for us to interfere into their lives. So hopefully, like I said, they'll learn from this. And if they tend to be unfit parents, there are people that are qualified to make that determination. We are not.
Give him the key to Brooksville.
He was supposed to go fishing today.
Just buy this guy a beer, or as somebody noted in our comment section, buy him a red slushie to match the red slushie that we know that is in JJ's future.
I believe so. A lot of our guys know him, so. Oh, wow. Okay.
Andrea Miller says, love this. #KJB, can we get this man a check for a steakhouse? One selfless act saved a toddler and a family from turmoil. I am sure that this man here is going to have a difficult time being able to pay for anything for the next few days.
Good.
But I appreciate all the love out there, and all the people that just want to pay it forward. And it's pretty incredible. He says, God bless this man and those who helped him or helped in finding the little one. Autumn says, superheroes, not all weird. Okay, so we can confirm that now. Okay, great. So we just got word in. Everyone, I want you to meet Roy Link. This was the comment that we got initially, but we had to get it approved, and we just did. We have a process here in the journalism industry to, of course, approve and vet information. But we can confirm now. This is Roy Link. Common
Who else
spelling.
do we have over there?
R-O-Y-L-I-N-K. And he was the link.
Ken's here.
He was the link to finding JJ.
Awesome, JB.
And
Real nice pun there, buddy.
For and the missing link that we
another
received,
pun. Thank you,
in
JB.
Form of him waking up this morning as a volunteer.
Roy Link
and
the link
and being out there
in finding
and helping
baby JJ.
He has agreed to do an interview in the aftermath of this phone call when he gets off the phone here. So yeah, a lot of love for Roy. I don't know Roy's story. I don't know what his life has been like. I know nothing about
Gives
Roy,
a shit.
but I appreciate him in this moment, as I'm sure all of you do, because what he did was provide us with this joyous
I mean that in
moment,
a good way.
a moment that I can't wait to go home
Who gives
and
a
talk
shit?
with
This guy's a
my
hero.
family about. It's one I can't wait to go and talk with my colleagues here at WFLA about off camera, and we can all just kind of smile and breathe a sigh of relief. It's just extraordinary, and it's because volunteers like Roy signed up this morning, and as I noted, it could have been any volunteer, could have been any deputy, could have been any officer, but it happened to be Roy, and that's just special in and of itself. So we're gonna take a moment to celebrate that.
Roy Link, y'all.
Our comment, I love our commenters, man. Mojo says, #KJB, take all the time you need on the phone, Roy. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait. You could be on that phone for as long as you want. We're gonna wait here to hear what you have to say. That's great. You guys make me laugh sometimes.
You know what sucks is for all we know, that dude's arguing with his wife for being out all night. I'm telling you, turn on the fucking news, honey. I was doing something good, I swear.
Really cool. Teresa says, yeah, probably an honorary member of the family. Honorary member to little JJ. Really cool. Kathy says, or Kathy's world says, #KJB, I think Roy just became an adopted grandpa. It's pretty cool. The sheriff's office representative talking to Roy now.
Yeah, Roy, get out of the way, buddy.
Caddy is wondering, is there a way that he's doing another media appearance? Is he on the phone with somebody right now? Stephanie said, oh, yeah, come on. The link pun. Guys, it was meant to be. It's meant to be. Roy was meant to be.
The
Roy,
link,
speaking here live.
Pun.
Let's listen in.
All right, folks, this is Roy Link. He's one of our volunteers, and actually the volunteer who found Joshua today. So he can tell you he'll answer any questions you have for him.
Okay, basically, I guess I was just out here like everybody else, volunteering for the search. I actually had my boat hooked up to my truck this morning. I was going fishing. Something told me, no, got to do this. So I was
He's a Marine.
In the right place at the right time.
Roy's a Marine. I love it.
Like I said, I'm a former Marine, but also I'm a former county employee.
You're always a
32
Marine
years,
when you're a Marine.
County
No such thing as a former Marine, Roy.
And just all this stuff. I knew Ernie Weaver Park real good, so I came in from that direction and headed south. And I went across a field of grass. I came up on some woods, and I listened good. I heard like a whimpering kind of noise. And at that point, I was like, there's no other kids here. It's got to be JJ. So sure enough, I went in the woods, and about 100 feet from where I was at, I think he was in some stickers. There's a lot of stickers and all there, but he was happy to see me. He put his hands up, and he was real happy. And then he wanted mom. He started hollering for mom, but the deputy showed up. I guess I made a friend real quick because he hung on to me. He didn't want to go to anybody, until his parents showed up. So it's just a blessing in disguise. You know, it could have been anybody here, but, you know, gotta thank the Lord. That's number one.
Just what was your reaction, you know, being a part of this search, something that you originally didn't have planned to do, and then
Right.
seeing, you know, that little boy?
Yeah. It, you know, it's so many emotions, I guess, you know. I,
Wow. You must be so overwhelmed. You must be so
I
overwhelmed.
would say who wouldn't get emotional, you know, with that situation. But I was just so happy I found him, so happy he was alive and well, you know, and just seeing the parents reunited with him. And I just couldn't ask for a better day, a better outcome.
Yeah.
And I'm just pleased with all these people that showed up. You know, it could have been anybody. Just happened to be me.
What was the look on his face when he saw you?
He seemed, he wasn't smiling, but he was happy. And he put his hands up in the air for me to come get him, you know. So I was calling his name, and I just started saying, your mom's coming, because I didn't want to scare him. But that didn't seem to scare him. He was happy when I picked him up. And like I said, I think he was in some briars, so he didn't want to go any further. But he was standing up, and he looked like he'd been hiking for a while. So maybe he'll end up being my hiking buddy when he gets older. Yeah.
Survive out there for 24 hours.
It is. It really is. Yes. You know, you probably wouldn't find a lot of adults that would stay out there in the middle of the night. And, you know, who knows what's out there. I mean, we have, you know, coyotes and bobcats and that type of stuff. And, but I'm sure being two, he had to be scared, you know, especially during the night.
Yeah,
but
there's
he seemed in good
Panthers,
spirits.
there's Florida
you know,
Panthers.
He wasn't, didn't seem to be any danger. You know, I saw the scratches on his legs and his arms, and, you know, I took a picture of with me and his family, his parents and him, and he was just happy. He was happy, happy to be back.
How thankful are you that, you know, instead of going on that fishing trip this morning, you decided to spend your time searching for this son?
Yeah, I'm very thankful. You know, it's I think a lot of people here probably felt the same way. You know, and I don't know. I figure I'd go fishing anytime, but you know, I need to come out and help everybody. And I know the area good. Being a third generation here in Brooksville, I've got this county pretty figured out. So it was just great. You know, sure the Lord told me to be here.
Did you speak to his parents at all?
I did. Yes, I was in the ambulance with them, and they insisted on taking a picture with me. And of course, they hugged me. The whole family, grandma, cousins, everybody. And you know, like I said, you know, it's just my lucky day. You know, our lucky day, I should say. It's everybody's lucky day, and I'm just glad I was a part of it.
And what exactly did you say that you heard that made you walk in that direction where you found
It was almost a whimpering noise, but he didn't really seem to be crying. It was almost like the verge of crying, but he was just kind of making some childhood noises, you know, nothing like he wasn't screaming or crying that he had any major problems. And as soon as he see me, you could almost see him light up, you know, and as soon as I seen him and his hair, I'm like, that's him. And so, of course, I jumped on 911, and it's kind of hard because I was trying to, you know, keep him calm, you know, instead of trying to. So another gentleman, I yelled at him and said, I've got him. So he come and I gave him my phone and said, you know, will you talk to 911? So that's kind of where we're at. Within minutes, we were loaded with deputies, and, you know, everybody was just thrilled to death that I've seen that this ended so good, you know, really.
Can you describe the area kind of around him?
Yeah, you know, where I went, I came into a real wooded area over at Ernie Weaver Youth Park, which is just north of here. And I come through, and then I come to a big pasture, kind of like the one right behind you. And, you know, there's different areas that you could go. I looked to the right, and I could see Cobb Road, the truck route down here. So I decided to go straight, and off to one side, I seen a couple of things they use on fields for fertilizing, big water tanks and all they use. And I was like, well, let me go check that, make sure he's not around there, you know. So I did. I came back over to where I was at, and here I'm trying to decide which way to go. And I kind of looked in the area as though this is where I'm going, and that's where I heard him. And he was 100 feet away is about it. So, you know, I'm sure everybody here was wishing somebody found them. I just happened to be the guy. So, you know, I'm no hero or nothing else. It just was my lucky day.
Like one friend, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yes, for sure. Yep. I got to meet back up with him. Yeah. But we're good. Sure, absolutely, absolutely. Y'all take care.
There he goes.
Hiking buddies for life. I'm not crying. You're crying. Awesome from Roy Link. Just a guy who was going to wake up this morning, a former Marine, as I noted on YouTube. After he said it, I mean, former area is waving at the camera there. What a story he has to tell. Was going to go fishing and decided, water's not going anywhere. Fish aren't going anywhere. Maybe I can do the right thing and help out with these search efforts. And he found this boy. Just incredible. Roy, you could tell, it meant a lot to him. He choked up there. Just really cool to see. Somebody who is so humble, as Justine is noting in our comment section, somebody who is so humble and, said it could have been any one of us as far as the volunteers go, and it just happened to be him. He said that he was coming across some brush when he heard some about 100 feet away, someone whimpering, and he saw the curly blonde hair, and he knew right away that was him. Called 911. Had some, yes, as we reported, he had some marks on him, but mostly okay. Just incredible. Just incredible. Any final comments? Anybody want to give Roy some shout out? Man, Tyler, yes. Hey, Tampa Bay Rays, you watching? Let's get Roy to throw out the first pitch of a Rays game coming up at the Trop. Let's do it. Former Marine. I'm serious. We're sending this to the Rays. Former Marine.
That's awesome.
Who would have gone fishing on any other day, but decided to take his time to volunteer to find this missing 2-year-old right here in the Tampa Bay area, and found him after the boy was missing for 24 hours. Doesn't get better than that. So yeah, let's do something for Roy. That's incredible, and it's a great idea, Tyler. Fingers crossed that maybe we can make that happen. That would be really cool.
That's awesome, man. Somebody from the Tampa Bay Rays.
Bottom line says U.S.
Following
Marines
this.
Everywhere saluting Mr. Roy for our mission accomplished. Gemma the Super Kitty, he's a legend. Ashley caught a 2-year-old fish named JJ.
Now
let me because
I highlighted this comment for a reason. Live with the dumpster squirrel said, "Imagine if a known lol cow or tragedy pit found little JJ. I couldn't be watching an asshole take the credit." Now I want to try to keep this positive, but the only reason I highlighted this mainly, besides the fact that it's my boy Limey, is that those idiots wouldn't have even passed the background check to be qualified to volunteer. Like they wouldn't have passed the background check. None of them, not even JLR. And JLR got a bunch of water and he brought everybody water, which is a good thing and everything like that. But you know what? I'm going to keep it nice and keep it positive. I'm going to keep it nice and keep it positive. But this is one of the reasons why they vet even volunteers to be able to help, because this outcome is so important. Getting this positive outcome is so important. And the organization that it took for law enforcement to make sure that and I'm saying that they didn't vet these volunteers because they didn't want tragedy pimps going on YouTube and capitalizing off it. That's not why they did it. They did it because they want to make sure that anybody who goes out there and they find JJ is going to be somebody of not questionable character. And whoever finds JJ, they can ensure to some degree that it's going to be somebody who JJ can be safe with until they're brought to safety. So
email us at WFLA and let us know exactly what you think we should be on top of. You can also follow me on social media. I'm at WFLAJB on every platform. Let me just really quickly plug these, if I may, from Facebook to Twitter to Instagram to TikTok. All these platforms where I try to share unique content on all those different platforms. But if you really do, if this coverage really resonated with you, or if you have a suggestion, critiques, good, bad, doesn't matter what it may be, things that we can do to improve, stories you think we should be covering, different shows that we can do. And this is our headquarters for Tracking the Tropics, our show on hurricanes.
I think that they're wrapping it up.
Run for Fun.
But yeah, big ups to WFLA Channel 8 News in Florida, and JB, and yeah, it's very, very, very good day, folks. It's definitely a good day. JJ Rowland was found safe. Joshua JJ Rowland was found safe. Lot to be grateful for today. Definitely a lot to be grateful for today. Because all I was going to do, I was just going to go live and just try to help spread the word as much as I can. Try to maintain awareness that was already being put out there, and just when I was about to click go live, I saw that he was found safely. So I'm really glad that got to be the basis of this live stream. Really, really happy about that. And I'm pretty sure I'll go live again sometime this evening, and we have other things to discuss that should be fun and lighthearted and enjoy. So luckily, none of this turned out to be bad news. So really, really, really happy about that. Really, really thrilled. Just amazing. Just the thought of a 2-year-old boy just sitting and waiting and hoping for somebody to come along and help him, and just wanting his mom, as any baby would, just wanting to be found and wanting to go home to his mom, and then somebody coming along and picking this baby up and taking him to safety and putting him back in the arms of his parents. It's just a beautiful thought, and it's just a great tone to set my day to. I can't speak for all of you, but I would think that I can in that sense. It's just ridiculous. Looking at that, like, I know Moon Davis is saying that he was already looking up criminal records. Of course he was. We can't change the nature of people here. But the focus of this live stream is to shine a light on the good nature of people. And that community came together, man. We're talking 500 volunteers came together, 500 people who passed background checks when they were vetted, and they, it's just a beautiful thought to see people come together. I wouldn't have an audience if everybody's nature was to think the worst, assume the worst, hope for the worst in order to get something to because there are those people out there let's just face it, there are those people out there that a little part of them is hoping for a tragedy to take place so that they can capitalize off of it, so that they can exploit it. And there was no room for that here today. There was absolutely no room for that here today. Today was all about seeing the good in people, and it happened on such a mass level, and the result turned out to be the best thing that we could actually hope for. I mean, kid goes missing 24 hours ago, found 24 hours later, safe in the middle of the woods, safe, healthy, couple of scratches, couple of bug bites. Little JJ is a badass. Yeah. So it's very, very yeah, the words escape me. I'm sorry, but the words escape me. It's good people out there. It's really refreshing to know that there's good people out there. And maintaining that thought to me is what keeps this channel going, because that's what we try to focus on from the beginning. We don't try to focus on the worst. We don't try to focus on where the parents irresponsible, is their child molesters everywhere, and who kidnapped the kid, blah blah blah. We don't even know if a kid was kidnapped. In this case, we know for a fact that this child wasn't kidnapped. Sometimes kids get up and they wander off. Sometimes a parent turns their back and a kid wanders off. It happens. It doesn't necessarily make them bad parents. We don't know the circumstances. And the cool thing about this is we don't need to know. At this point, it doesn't matter. It's not up to us to worry about whether or not somebody is fit to be a parent or not. Now, the authorities are privy to the situation. They're privy to all of the information. They're privy to the parents. They're privy to their background. They're privy to everything that needs to be known in order to not only have found this child safe, but now the focus, I'm sure, is going to be to keep this child safe, to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So plain and simple, people. Plain and simple. Today was a good day. Today was a good day. Team Brittany's in the chat. Little kids are so fast. So glad this one ended with happy tears and safe child and humble Marine. Yes, agreed. Team Brittany is a mod for WFLA News. I see her in the chats all the time. So thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. But guys, I'm going to wrap this up on a good note. Good morning or good afternoon at this point. I'm sure I'll go live a little later and we'll get silly, and we've got, like I said, a few things to talk about, have some fun. But guys, I love you. Thanks for keeping your prayers and positive energy out there. And I'm a believer, whether you are or not. I'm a believer in that sort of thing, and I believe that all of that positive energy contributed very much to baby JJ being found safely, and being back in the arms of his parents. So, anyways, guys, thank you for being you. Thank you for joining me, and I love you. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.